Baby boomers have accumulated more money or wealth than any previous generation, but few avoidable decisions could make that retirement comfortable as opposed to tragic. Let me repeat that. You got more money than you've ever had before as a generation, baby boomers, and yet there are at least 13 mistakes that I've encountered over my 38 years as a financial advisor and over my 50 years as a certified public accountant here in the state of Texas. Let's start with the first one and the most tragic from my point of view. Retiring without a purpose. In other words, I am so looking forward to not having anything that I have to do that I'm not going to do nothing. Let me tell you a story on that. It was in the 1950s. I was a little kid living in Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey, right next to Hackensack. Mr. LeConte retired from Mawa Ford Assembly Plant. I apologize to their family for using his name. Sorry. He retired. We were playing stickball in front of his house. He was watching us. I said, Mr. LeConte, what are you going to do? He said, Johnny, I'm not going to do nothing but watch the grass grow. 17 short months later, his wife was a widow. His kids were orphaned by him. So he had nothing to do, and God recalled his parts. Another problem that people have is not having a written income retirement plan. There is nothing that extends your life expectancy more than having a written, steady stream of income. And more important than that, having a steady stream of income. I'll tell you a story on that too. There are these odd contracts where somebody, some group, buys your life insurance contract, fantasizing that you're going to die sooner rather than later because you have one foot in the grave and the other one slipping. It turns out the people who bought those contracts lost a lot of money. Why? Because having steady income has a tendency to extend your income. Let's talk about Social Security for a second. No, I don't think it's going to run out of your lifetime in terms of income in your lifetime. There are a variety of ways to fix that. That'll be the subject of another video. Stay tuned to Checki Financial. In terms of Social Security, let's compare what is and what ain't true for you. Right now in the United States, you can retire and apply for Social Security at 62. You can wait as long as 70. About 2% of us actually wait until 70. Why? All too often, people are either afraid they're going to run out of money. Either they're going to run out of money, you individually, or Social Security is going to run out of money, or I can get that money now. By God, money now is better than money later. You do some calculations on that, either individually with your financial advisor or on the Social Security site. You'll discover that if you take it at 62, you're taking about a 30-something% discount on your benefits. If you wait until 70, you get about 40% more income. So actually, you take about a 40% discount at 62. And that goes up each month that you defer the income by the product of 8% over 12, any 12 months a year. Your full retirement age is usually about 66 or 67, based on when you were born. A spouse can share into that. The longer they wait, the better they do, up until age 66. And having some idea of what your income potential can be is a darn good idea in terms of what you want to do if you don't have a plan yet. So have a plan in advance. How about underestimating how long you're going to retire? I am 78 and a half years of age, born in January 1948. Still enjoy what I'm doing. Still work regularly in my financial planning practice and my CPA practice. Why is that? Because I still have a purpose. Plus, I get to call the meetings I want to have, extend myself to the extent to which I want to be extended, and go on down the road. Another big problem people have is investing too conservatively. And yes, I'm using a checklist so that I try not to forget anything, and I make sure by having a checklist, much like a pilot on an airplane. I'm not a big fan of bonds. I'll say that out loud because to me, with bonds, in my opinion, speaking just for me, it seems like you lose money two ways, quickly and slowly, not in favor of either one of those. So make sure you have your income sources in place. A financial advisor can help you with that. There are all the techniques of getting that way too, in terms of proper asset allocation. Personally, I've been doing that since I was 16. Then on the other side of the spectrum is taking too much risk. Or, gee, well, lookers, I think I'm a little bit behind. I'm missing out. I should be buying the latest trends out there, assuming way too much risk. Then years ago, I was in California, and a fellow named Musha came up as a PhD from Ontario, Canada, They talked about sequence of returns. And I thought, what a great concept. What the heck is that? His mom had given him a call and said, Marsha, your dad has died. You teach graduate courses on management, University of Ontario in Canada. I expect you to make sure your mother, me, doesn't run out of money. So Marsha, being a scientist in terms of mathematics and economics, discovered a concept which no one had really bothered to talk about much, and that's sequence of returns. What does that mean? Well, if you live through, and if you're a baby boomer, you did, year 2000, first quarter, 2003, you saw the market drop like a rock. If you have a better memory, you remember about 1973 to 1974, again, market dropped dramatically. If you can remember 2000 through about 2016, the market took a long time to recover. If you can remember some articles in the 1970s talking about how, sadly, the cult of equities had died. Now, that's silly. If you look at the long-term trends, honest to goodness, there are certain types of investments that outperform other investments, and that's just the way God made apples. Another big mistake is withdrawing money without considering taxes. What does that mean in plain English? This is a beautiful water bottle made out of metal. It's supposed to be better for you than plastic. We'll see. But let's say that was an IRA. And let's say this container was just a brokerage account or a bank account. Let's say it was a bank account. If I take money out of the bank account, do I owe taxes in plain English? No, you don't. If you take money out of an IRA, do you owe taxes? Yes, you do. What's the difference? Well, if you take $1 out of a checking account or a savings account, it just costs you $1, but no taxes. If you take money out of an IRA or an SEP IRA or a 403B or a 457, there's just about any pre-tax tax deferred program with the exception of a Roth, you pay income tax. What does that mean? It means take out $1, you pay 20 cents of income tax, you net 80 cents out of each dollar. In most cases, worst case, pay 26 to 39 cents tax on each dollar. Whoops, suddenly that $1 million you thought you had inherited is $600,000 and also kicks you in a higher tax bracket. How about waiting for required minimum distributions to begin planning for taxes? What the heck? In plain English again. Listen up on this. Take a note. Required minimum distribution. This means when you reach a certain age, in my case it was 70 and a half, you have to start taking money out of a retirement plan and putting it somewhere else. No matter where it is you put it or what you do with it, but take money out of here, pay taxes on it, and put it somewhere else if you spend it. So depending on your tax bracket, you take out $50,000, pay your 25% income tax. Holy guacamole, you pay $12,500 income tax. If you can do math in your head. If not, it's still $12,500. If you live in Texas or Florida or some other non-state income tax state, if you live in California, you take out the state tax plus federal income tax. So it reduces it dramatically. So plan on that in advance. In addition to that, when you take that out, it might kick up your Medicare expenses. Next on my hit parade, I want to be really careful on how you enroll in Medicare and when you enroll in Medicare. Get some advice on that subject as well. And then a really tragic mistake people can make is assuming, God only knows how this is going to happen, that Medicare will pay your long-term care expenses. The answer is no, not really. For a short period of time, it might pay for a bit of it, but not really. So make your provisions. And if you're blessed with longevity, realize you better have enough money and income to cover that expense or cover it with risk management, which is called insurance. Giving money away to your kids. What a great idea. Now, I have 2 natural-born children, still alive, 1 unnatural-born child, meaning a fellow that I helped raise for a period of time. My wife has a son also. But how about giving money away to kids? Have you ever done that? I'm not talking about your little teenage kids. I'm talking about your adult children. Hey, Dad, I'd like to buy a house. I'll tell you a story on that, too. Way back when, my wife and I were thinking about buying a house. We didn't have enough money for the down payment. So I wrote to my mom. I said, hey, would you like to give us some money for a down payment for a house? Now, back in the olden days, my father had asked my grandmother on my mother's side to loan him some money to buy a house. She flat turned him down. He was not happy about that. Relationships between that household and our household were kind of strained as a result of that. My mother wrote me this sweet note saying, This is a wonderful opportunity for you and your wife to save up enough money to buy your own house. Last point I'm going to make on retirement income planning and retirement planning mistake: neglecting estate documents and beneficiaries. I am begging you, if you remember nothing else from this short, happy video, to review your beneficiary designations. Let me translate that into everyday language. If you have an IRA or transfer on death account, look up who is going to inherit that money. Years ago, 1990, it was 1990, Southwest Oregon Bank. I was giving a seminar, a lunchtime seminar, and I said at that workshop, if you remember nothing else from this seminar, please review your beneficiaries, because your first wife probably is not going to be giving the money from your 401k to your new and improved second wife just because that's what you meant to have happen, as opposed to what you actually designated on the document. So review your beneficiaries. So have a will. Review your beneficiaries, plan in advance, make sure you understand or get somebody who can help you understand in plain everyday English how much you have, how much you spend, and how much you'll need to be healthy, wealthy, and wise, and truly enjoy not only today, but your future. Like this video, please. Subscribe to this channel, please, and stay tuned. We'll have lots of interesting, compelling information. I'm John Checki, co-founder of Checki Financial. Have fun and be well.